Hey guys, today we're going to be going into a special rules Terran vs. Terran matchup. Similarly to the Zerg vs. Zerg matchup that was hosted earlier on the channel, this will have rules of banned units. For the first game, it's going to be no vultures, no Goliaths, no siege mode. So this is going to be possibly siege tanks, as well as maybe marine medic, and well, whatever flying units that you really want to make. The rest of the games 2 through 5, will be no factory units whatsoever. So definitely should be an interesting one. This is a match between Wolfix, one of the best European Terrans, and Sterling, one of the best North American Terrans. I think that they're really evenly matched and both very strong, underrated players right now. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, no doubt about that. But before we get started, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the sponsor of this match. This show match is sponsored by Manta Sleep. When Manta Sleep contacted me, I was very excited to work with them because I actually bought my own Manta Sleep mask back in May. I'm not joking when I say this is the best purchase that I've made in years. I've actually told Tasteless about it so many times, although he has yet to get one, because I use it every single day. In fact, here's the mask that I purchased back in May. It's absolutely comfortable. So it's very, very adjustable, with Velcro all over the place. The eye cups are actually very important to me. So you can take them off and re-put them on wherever you want. And being a man with a rather large brow and nose, the fact that these are cupped like that makes this actually black out all the light while I'm sleeping. Now, as someone who stays up late streaming and playing StarCraft all night, and then has kids that get up early in the morning to go to school, finding ways to sleep more and sleep better have been on the top of my to-do list for the past year or so. And again, I'm not joking when I say I use this every single night. If I want to take a nap, I utilize this mask. I bring it with me on every single trip. I do the best to shut out any light in my room, but this just makes sure that everything is pitch black. You can open your eyes in this and you see absolutely nothing. This is a wonderful product. I stand 100% behind it. And if you'd like to get a 10% discount, go below to the description and use my code there. All right, so on to game one we go. This is going to be the only one with this rule set, and that is no vultures, no Goliaths, no siege mode. The thought process behind this is maybe, if you're kind of trying to force Marine Medic, would like bunkers be too strong, something like that. I didn't want this to devolve immediately into rushing bunkers like at the bottom of your opponent's ramp or something like that, and siegeless tanks could help solve that. But I'm not too worried about it. Wolfix had the idea of siegeless tanks, so I guess we'll just see how this one goes, and then the rest of the games are just going to be no factory units, so just kind of a little test here. And yeah, just to introduce the players a little bit, we have Wolfix here in the top right, and in the top left we have Sterling. Sterling is an American and Wolfix is European. And both of them, specifically a Polish player, and both of them very good newer Terrans in the scene. It's not too often that we get Terrans that rise up to about S rank in the scene outside of Korea, right? The foreigner scene, as we call it. But these two have. They're both very strong players, and I think that they're a good match for each other, which is really the main thing that I was kind of looking for here, is to try to make a good solid match where I really am not sure who would win. Yeah, so there you have it. We're on Radon here for map 1, and I'm quite excited to see how this one ends up going. It looks like Wolfix going to go ahead and scout over. It looks like he's going towards a gasless expansion, whereas Sterling does look like he's probably just going to rush up into a factory, which I would imagine would be for those early siege tanks. 2 SCVs coming down. That's kind of interesting. Comes to block the ramp. But he didn't see that coming. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that was for, but Wolfix going to get up and get a little bit of scouting going. And yeah, I wonder, like, I could see with siegeless tanks, like, think of it this way, okay? So generally, if you go gasless expansion, you'll be able to get tanks with siege mode out to kind of secure your spot if someone tries to rush you. Now, if Sterling just goes for tanks nonstop and Marines out of one barracks nonstop, I could see that overwhelming the bunker because you don't have siege mode to push it all back. You're never going to catch up on that siege tank count as Wolfix. So, seems like a pretty smart idea here from Sterling. I do think both these guys are pretty strategic players overall. I've played both of them a fair amount, probably Sterling quite a few more times, and I think they think about the game quite a bit. So I'm quite sure that Sterling has come up with some good strats. In fact, when I asked him to play, he wanted a couple days to think about his strategies and come up with some stuff, so that's kind of funny. All right, so double proxy factory. So it's going to be 2 factory siege tank for Sterling here, but he proxied them at the wrong location. But yeah, you'd think that that will be able to just bowl through whatever Wolfix has. Like, you know, tanks without siege mode for cost, I would imagine Marine Medic with stim and range and all that will beat siege tanks. But yeah, it might take a while for him to get up to that, basically. So here's the Academy going up. He has started his gas, just creating some Marines at the moment. Going to go ahead and throw down a bunker. The bunker is probably the last thing you need here. I guess you could repair it and keep it going. So actually, maybe that's okay. It's just like the bunker won't be able to do too much against the tanks. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, the range upgrade might make the bunkers... Yeah, it should make the bunkers hit the siege tanks, I think. I think siege tanks without siege mode are the same range as a Dragoon. They might have one more range. I'm actually unsure about this. This is just not something that literally ever comes up. I haven't gone bio in TvT in 24 years or so. So it's just not something that you normally see. Actually, there is one player that was trying some bio play, a Swedish player named Body. I don't think he's currently active, but he actually had some weird siege tank bio play that he was trying that was very tempo-based. So I did get to play a little bit against bio, but nothing like that ever ended up coming up. It was a very aggressive play. So right now, bringing up his siege tanks, he is making a bunker. So this is like a good fallback point where he can put the Marines in. Putting some pressure onto that bunker. Stim is being made. He's already got a couple of medics. It's going to be 3 tanks here. So 3 tanks are going to require, I believe, 3 SCVs, possibly 4 to repair. But he's definitely buying a lot of time here. I'm surprised he's going up to factory. I almost feel like you should maybe consider just more Marines and medics. But I guess with this bunker back here, this does kind of make sense. Where, like, yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to actually end up breaking through everything if the tanks pull back to a bunker. So range has been started. So we might actually just get that answer. It actually looks to me like tanks maybe have one more range than a Dragoon with range. So they might not actually hit. And the amount of siege tanks, oh man. Oh, maybe gonna go for a Wraith? Ooh, okay. Don't know how well a Wraith will do against this many Marines. Okay, so yeah, it looks like he needs... Oh god, that just wasn't enough. Yeah, I guess they do a little bit more damage than Dragoons, a little bit higher DPS. So you're going to have to utilize the stim. He's going to try to come out here. Goes after these tanks. Yeah, it looks pretty one-sided at the moment. He's going to have to lift off. In the meantime, looking over here, Sterling is actually still down in workers and making the bunker the bottom ramp. See, this is actually something that I was a little bit afraid of. That would be very hard to attack down. Now, maybe science facility? Ghosts? You know, one of the things that I could see ending up being utilized here is the potential of ghosts, I think. Like, you could end up doing something like a nuke, right? Seems reasonable. Maybe not entirely, but maybe partially. That is a lot of siege tanks to try to get through. So Comstat is on the way. He does have range now. Oh, whoops. Just so many siege tanks out here. Yeah, I'm actually very glad watching this that we're only going to have the one game with siege tanks. It just... this seems so strong against the faster expansion that... Yeah, that doesn't seem like that would be very much fun, just watching people mass up siege tanks so that each other can't fast expand. Oops. All right, so dropships are coming out. That kind of makes some sense. Another barracks being made here from Sterling. Looks like Wolfix is going to try maybe for like a mass drop coming out. He is getting into that science facility. Floats that command center elsewhere. Oh, he ended up losing that engineering bay. That's too bad. +1 would be useful. That's for sure. Sterling gets his +1 going as well as that range upgrade. Ah, and he's just going to ferry a bunch of Marine Medic out, it looks like. Okay, a scan goes off, and he is going to fly around. Ooh, some real potential with this drop, but look at this Sterling with the good read. Bringing his siege tanks back home. Adding a lot of barracks right now. You know, like, what is this? It's 6 Marines and another 6 Marines. So it's going to be 12 Marines, 4 medics. Seems like 12 Marines... 4 medics. I feel like with range and stim, I feel like I would beat this. Maybe not unloading right on top of it. Like, you probably want to unload on the side so that you have everything out and already fighting. But the SCVs get pulled down as well. And you can see the real strength of Marine Medic if you don't have all that splash damage. My God. He actually just rails through that. Oh my God. Wolfix is actually going to end up winning this? That's kind of crazy. All right. An excellent drop there from Wolfix, taking down what seems to me to be a better prepared Sterling. Ooh, I can't wait. Let's get into the next game. All right, so the next 4 games are just going to be no factory units. I'm very excited about this. You know, mech is just so strong for Terran in StarCraft 1, and, you know, bio is so weak. That's the thing. A lot of people that are primarily StarCraft 2 fans come over and they're like, why don't we ever see bio, you know, in Terran vs. Terran or Terran vs. Protoss? And, you know, there's a few things to keep in mind. Like, if you are a StarCraft 2 person, know these few things. Okay, so like first off, when I practiced that build was on Dominator. Oh, okay. Definitely would be better on Dominator because you're going down a ramp with the tanks. Anyways, when you look at this change from StarCraft 1 to StarCraft 2, okay, so here's some thought, some food for thought. Going into StarCraft 2 from StarCraft 1, the base stats. Zerglings were nerfed, Zealots were nerfed, and Marines were massively buffed. Okay? Like, we haven't had a patch in StarCraft 1 in 25 or 26 years now. But, like, when StarCraft 2 came out, all those things occurred. And, yeah, it really changed, like, what you can do with bio. Bio is just not really a usable composition. It's a very special game when you get some sort of weird bio game against Protoss. Normally it's like strange all-ins going against each other. And against Terran, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Like, one Vulture well microed kills like 5 Marines. Goliaths shred Marines. Siege tanks with siege mode shred Marines. So yeah, it's like, it's just not something that we can ever see. So, you know, taking away factory units, I feel like it's going to make like a kind of dynamic, cool game. Some of the thoughts that I had going into this, like if I were to play a match like this, I'm like, all right, well, first thing is you got to make sure you're not really getting like a bunker contain up on, or getting bunker contained rather. Like if someone went like center racks and tried to bunker contain you or something, that would obviously be very detrimental. It would be very hard to come down the ramp. But once you get past that stage, it's like, okay, yeah, Marine Medic, you know, upgrades will actually matter. Stim range, obviously, will matter. And here's the other thing. Like, once you get all that buyout there, suddenly science vessels are pretty darn good. Like, a Radiate would crush, right? Defense Matrix would be really helpful. Also, Ghosts should be good. I actually think, like, if there's a bunch of bunkers, how would you break, like, a ton of bunkers of upgraded Marines there? Like, well, honestly, maybe a nuke? Maybe. Seems reasonable. And if people are utilizing science vessels heavily, maybe you end up seeing, like, lockdown against that? I don't know. I guess we'll see from these two players playing it out. But just a few ideas. It might also just turn into a massive macro fest if someone gets more Marine Medic outside the choke in like an arc or something like that with well-placed medics, well, spaced medics, I guess is the right way to put that. So yeah, just some food for thought on what I was thinking about going into this. But yeah, fast engineering bay. So it looks like Wolfix is actually going to be doing a pretty fast +1 build. And yeah, that seems to make sense to me. There's a fast engineering bay as well for Sterling, and there's the Academy. So yeah, both sides having very, very similar ideas. It is a faster command center by a little bit here for Sterling. Not really afraid of being bunker rushed or anything, whereas this was a more defensive play from Wolfix, and he's actually kind of hidden his command center on that high ground, and it is a little bit slower, plus has to float down. So economic advantage does go to Sterling, but other than that, it's like all pretty close. It's like, yeah, you're going to have a few more SCVs, but I think more likely this will come down to like who has thought this out better. And I think the game quality will probably increase over the 4 games overall. It's like they're both going to see what each other are thinking and kind of adjust, like, oh, that was a good idea. Yeah. That's something I hadn't thought of there. But yeah, I hope that you guys are enjoying some of these stranger mirror matchups. I'm definitely enjoying casting them, and still, you know, looking. I paid a lot of attention during the Zerg vs. Zerg one to different ideas people had. But yeah, leave any ideas as you watch this, especially at the end after you've seen all the games, to what you would do for special rules. And I understand there are ways that we could do use map settings and like change things and rebalance things like prices and stuff. I'm not as interested in that. I do like the idea of just being able to queue up any map and instantly play under like a slightly different rule set that's agreed upon, and having the game change like that, rather than like someone alters a map and it's a different balance and the macro feels different and the unit feels different. I'm not as much a fan of that personally, even though that could make an even better time. All right. Taking a look, they're both just exploding their barracks count right now. So it's 4 barracks here for Wolfix, and Sterling with the slightly faster economy and up about 6 SCVs, adding in his 5 barracks play, which makes sense, right? If you have that faster expansion, you can absolutely get into those 5 racks really quickly. The upgrade's going to be absolutely crucial. I'm really, really interested to see how this goes into additional bases, or if it goes into additional bases. Are we just going to have both guys railing Marines at each other on 2 base? You know, as they start to gain gas, like, do we see them tech up some? I have a lot of ideas. Like I was mentioning before, the science vessels and everything. Don't forget ghosts in a bunker could actually be good. Like when you're mining all this gas, right? Like they're not mining that much yet. But as your economy grows, you're going to have all this gas, and it's like, well, what do you do with it? Well, ghosts do have concussive damage of 10, and you put them in a bunker, and they've got the same range as a Guardian. Like, can Marines attack that? I don't even know. I don't know the answer to any of this. A bunch more barracks here for Sterling. So looks like he's going to go, like, somewhat all in. I imagine he'll start +1 armor right away. Yeah, there it is. So this looks pretty all in, right? This is 9 barracks. It looks like he's pretty much done his SCV production. He's taking workers off of gas. Looking at Wolfix's side, he's going up to 6. He is moving out right now. Getting some good scans. You can see he's banked a lot of medics. Wolfix might feel like he has like a slight edge as far as the count goes at the moment, but I don't believe that's going to be the case when he gets over here. I think Sterling is just going to be completely fine. So 6 racks against 9. You would want to stay in a defensive position, whether that's like a high ground area, bunkers, a choke point where you're arced. Anything like that sounds pretty reasonable. It's just like Sterling is going to get into higher supply. As you can see, he's down 4 workers, but up 4 supply. So that means he's got like 8 more bio units right now. Still no factory. Well, I guess we actually get the factory here from Wolfix, but I don't think we'll see that from Sterling. I think Sterling is just going for a pure Marine medic. But attacking up into this hill could be really, really difficult. I could definitely see that. And Marines are going to die very quickly. Very quickly with +1 in stim. Definitely one thing you want to take into consideration is having your medics pre-spread out. This is not playing against Zerg. Like, it is going to really, really matter how you have those spread. All right, so that factory's up. He is mining some more gas now. Yeah, so I'm like sitting here thinking about this. I actually, like, I appreciate the planning here from Sterling, because this actually makes a lot of sense. This is a very strong move to do. But I actually think Wolfix's idea is probably the counter to it, but not this portion of it. Standing here is not the counter. And it looks like he's going to move out. But, like, if he gets into science vessels, I can't see, like, if he sits very... Oh, shit. No, don't do that. Sorry. If he were to sit really defensively and go into 2 starport irradiate, I could see that just crushing this overall. Like, just wiping it out, like irradiating medics and stuff. That would be insane how much damage that would do. But, like, will he be able to live to that point? It seems like he's got a better economy. He is making some bunkers, but, I mean, bunkers are great against Marine Medic, but not against this many. Sterling, in the meantime, scanning. He sees where this army is. He's moving across with his army. Another bunker on the way. Oh, man. I think Sterling is actually just going to run through him. If all this bio is at home, I would actually be choosing Wolfix right now as the probable victor in this game, but... Huh. That is just a ridiculous amount of Marines and medics. Just ridiculous. Maybe he can repair, and that will make the difference. They both have 1-1. Oh, drop ships. And +2. Well, maybe you just go drop ships first, and he'll send them around to pick this up. That actually makes a lot of sense. Actually, I'll go with that. That makes sense. I would love to see some more bunkers. I would love to see maybe SCVs ready to repair, because... Well, Sterling is spread out here. Is he going to attack? I don't know. Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay, so Wolfix stims in the bunkers, which is huge, but he doesn't have enough. It's as simple as that. I think Sterling is just going to break through. Oh, and he had actually loaded up here. I thought he was going to send the dropships around to pick up everything. There are vessels on the way. Okay, I feel like this game is pretty... It seems pretty much like it's going to end. But I feel like we actually learned a lot from this. If Wolfix had these units at home and teched up steadily into these vessels with irradiate, I think for sure he beats this strategy. And I think he'll probably look at this game and be like, yeah, that's where it went wrong. So... I don't think the rest of the games are going to look like this at all. Like, this was actually a really good learning game, though. This happens sometimes when you're trying new strats and stuff, where, like, you have a game that goes completely wrong, and you're like, oh, well, I'm glad that happened, because now I understand what this should look like. So he does end up picking up this bio that was over there, but, of course, Sterling just has so much at this point. There's not a lot to do. Sterling is getting into a factory. And you know what? Irradiate is being gotten. Maybe actually Wolfix still has some sort of chance here. If he throws down a few irradiates, mines this out, and has a nice wide ramp to try to stim down, I could see that. Mass irradiate against bio. Let's go. Yeah, so irradiate is ready. I think he might come in from an angle. Like, anything in a clump would be good to get. Medics, I think, are the greatest target that you can get. In fact, the irradiate can even deal, in some ways, more damage because the medics will be trying to heal through it. Yeah, see this? Now, I do think he should have removed those minerals for sure. But he should have just enough, I think, to get out of here. Or maybe just barely not enough. Yeah, maybe one more round of irradiates would have done it there. So, remaking that group. There's no science. Oh, there's the science facility on the way and one starport there. Sterling does have a bit of a gas bank. So he could get into his own vessels, but like the vessels are going to farm a lot of value here for sure. Just continually irradiating medics. A Wraith on the way. Not sure what the Wraith is really going to do. Look at the amount of bio coming across the map, by the way. Just insane. But we're definitely learning in this game how strong a Radiate can be. Definitely needs to get back up that ramp. Way too much. Look at... Oh my god, look at that value. Okay, so Sterling has the containment backup. The vessels are getting kind of insane at this point. Wolfix is about to mine out, though, so that is clearly a problem. Second engineering bay is coming up. There is +2 done here for Wolfix. Oh, he's trying to come down once again. Yeah, like, I know Sterling is looking like he's getting pretty close to winning this game as Wolfix is having such a hard time getting his expansion up. But the more I'm watching this happen, the more I'm sure that Wolfix's overall strategy with just a slight tweak of not playing aggressively. Like, you have the comm sets. You can kind of check what your opponent is doing. Yeah, I think the irradiates are going to make a gigantic difference. Now, Wolfix sends his SCVs, but, you know, I think he's actually going to get held here as well, and it should not end up being enough, especially with these bunkers coming up. The SCVs trying their best to fight. Eraser! GG. All right. A great learning game. So we've had 2 games so far. I think the last 3 here are going to be exponentially better. And that one was already pretty fun. So let's go into game 3. All right, we're going into game 3 here. And it is, in fact, on Metropolis. I'm getting so excited. I'm not even changing the map name very well. There it is. All right. No factory units. Game number 2, Metropolis. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like I agree with them that getting +1 is going to be important. I think Sterling actually had a very good idea to just go mass bio. And we learned so much from that game. Don't forget that this is all 5 games played no matter what. It doesn't matter if someone wins like 3 games. This is not something that's going to end. This is more for exploratory and entertainment purposes than anything else. What could these mirror matchups look like? Because I'll tell you, that is one thing I feel like overall, I think that the mirror matchups in StarCraft 2 are a bit more entertaining than in StarCraft 1. That's definitely my feel of it. You guys can let me know if you would agree with that or not. I do like StarCraft 1 TvT, but I absolutely see how, for some people, that's going to be a bit of a bore. It definitely can get sluggish sometimes, but I think it's a beautiful, beautiful matchup. But yeah, I think the StarCraft 2 ones feel a bit more dynamic, a bit more action. It feels like there's a lot going on in them. So Anyways, I think that it's fun. I enjoy this. So taking a look, you know what? Let's actually just switch this to blue and red because their colors are too close. Wolfix here going for a center barracks and Sterling in the bottom right, looking like he's playing pretty normally. So it looks like it's going to be a double proxy barracks, but like it's not like an 8 racks. Oh no, maybe this is just a scout. So yeah, it's just like a center barracks. Maybe he wants to try to do an offensive bunker in case it's a gasless expansion, because that is what Sterling did in the previous game, right? He went 1 depot, 1 racks, command center. And that is like, you could rush with something like this. It has potential to work. Especially if you bring the 2 SCVs, it's like, I don't think he'll actually be able to like win the game with this, but I could see him getting like a slight edge. Yeah, I could see him getting a slight edge. We'll see if Sterling throws down a bunker really quickly or not. No, he's just going to go out and scout. And seeing this scout coming in is not anything to really write home about. He's going to follow it. Okay. Couple Marines coming down. First Marine's going to be out here for Sterling in a moment. And of course, his second is a little bit delayed. So, you know, this kind of... oh, and he is trying to make a bunker. It's pretty far out there. Now his second SCV comes. So now Sterling actually has a very good idea of what's going on. And has to pull a lot of SCVs. Okay, so we finally do have a bunker rush trying to occur. This is actually... Okay, so he gets it up without too much trouble. But his command center is way faster. We have a 3rd depot going up. This feels like pretty even overall between them. Right? So this is going to take like another 70 seconds. So yeah, we're going to get Sterling probably ahead on workers slightly. But yeah, it doesn't feel like it's a huge difference. Like there was some lost mining time. He did get like an SCV or 2 there. You know, I guess he forced him into buying a bunker. Looks like both sides going to probably go for that quick +1 once again. Oh, Academy. Huh. Academy for Wolfix as opposed to the quick engineering bay. So that's interesting. I wonder why. It does feel like the +1 is a little bit more important. And, well, he's behind a bunker here. The thing is, if Sterling hits +1 and Wolfix is a bit later... Sterling should be able to break through whatever Wolfix has, I would say. So it'd be interesting to see what Wolfix's overall plan is here. So, yeah, taking a look as we move forward, Sterling ends up 3 workers ahead, it looks like. 2 to 3 workers ahead as that command center finishes up. And, of course, as comm sets get added, you know, that takes the build time of 2 workers. So we'll see that re-caught up later on the other side. Second bunker coming up for Sterling, so he's playing very, very carefully here, very safely. I like the block of any scouting. Wolfix trying to keep a bit of pressure on here by rallying his Marines down. But I think Sterling's doing it just right. Like, he's already got that +1 a third of the way done. He's got double bunker up here defensively. He has his expansion faster, 100%. Okay, we have some scans going down. So he scanned there, and there's no scans. Oh, yeah, of course, he hasn't made his comm sets. Okay, so he sees that it is fast +1 and plenty of barracks coming up. So definitely something he's going to want to consider. I am surprised that Wolfix does not have an engineering bay yet. Feels like something that he really should go towards. But he's going to have stim and range relatively quickly. I believe we're actually seeing Sterling go for range first, which helps in the bunkers more than stim. Is this going to be an attempted bust? Maybe. He's not going to be able to try it before range is done, but he'll have his own range, I believe. But his own range is lining up with +1 pretty closely, so it definitely feels to me like Sterling should be able to hold this pretty easily. And look at that, going up to 6 barracks right now. Now, 6 barracks is going to be pretty comfortable, I think, for getting into factory eventually here. We'll see if Sterling once again just tries to mass the barracks. I think massing the barracks here is not a bad plan, even from what we saw last time. But based on his defensive setup, I could see him going up into those vessels as well. Additional bunker on the way. He's already made a bunch of medics to kind of bank up some energy. The 4 racks has been going for a long time now for Wolfix. It does look like he's thinking about trying to hit a bust. But +1 is almost done here for Sterling. Brings a couple SCVs up for that repair. No +1 armor as of yet, but factory gets started here from Sterling. So I think it's going to be towards science vessels. He definitely felt the pain of playing against science vessels in that previous game, that's for sure. Oh, I kind of like that bunker. A high ground bunker going to be really difficult to deal with. And finally, the engineering bay coming up here for Wolfix, as well as that factory. Yeah, it seems like Sterling's going to have a timing to move out. Like, I think he should add a few more medics. He's got really great banking of energy there. He has the +1 that Wolfix doesn't have, and he has more barracks by 2. So he will eventually catch up in that marine medic count, and that additional +1 should be enough to beat a concave. That's my feel for it. Looks like he might poke here, but this was a very smart bunker that was put up. Forces him back immediately. All right, double starport here for Wolfix. This +1 has finally started. 1 starport for Sterling. I like this scouting of the factory. No reason not to. Looks like a scouting factory for Wolfix as well. Third base going to be coming up. Kind of funny. We open with like an attempted pressure, and it turns into a more turtley game than the other two. Second bunker going up here. Sending 4 Marines for it as well. Supplies pretty close. You can see Sterling starting to pull ahead. It looks like he has about 12 more units. And don't forget, there's going to be 8 units up here. So when Sterling tries to punch out, it should end up working. And that's what I'm most afraid about here. Now, Wolfix taking a third base, that is good. Thing is, this kind of reminds me of when you see a lurker contain in Zerg vs. Protoss, where it's like, okay, but if you lose all this, you're dead. Just like if you lose the forward lurkers, the Zerg, generally Protoss can just run to your main base and kill you. That's what I think we're looking at here. It's kind of similar to game number 2. Okay. Wolfix is going to fight, but he's just behind on this. All right. Well, that was not good. That was not good at all. He's scouting this command center, so no way that's going to finish. But it might actually buy him time, because Sterling looks to be moving over to kill off this base, which makes sense. Can he get enough bunkers to actually live and utilize those science vessels? If he can save his natural, the science vessel play is going to be great. It's only 1 starport right now for Sterling, and he's making a dropship. Okay, gets that factory. I think that's totally fine, though. More bunkers on the way. Okay, I think he's going to try to bust. He has his 1-1. I don't think you're going to get any better timing than this. By the way, Sterling is expanding to his 3rd. Dropship incoming. Lockdown! Lockdown! Lockdown. There it is. Oh my god. This is what I've been waiting for. You have ghosts? Yeah, okay, he is making some ghosts. This makes a lot of sense to me. Covert Ops coming up for Wolfix as well. I definitely agree with this. I do think ghosts should be used in these scenarios. It really seems to me that, like, you know, lockdown can be good, nuke can be good, even concussive damage at the range of a ghost can be good. Sterling actually really abusing the placement of this. That's going to be annoying. Those lockdowns going to be really important. The Irradiate's already starting to grind a bit, and Wolfix is in a much better position than he was in the previous game. But with Sterling adding in these ghosts, like, if you bring this out and he's just kind of pulling back a little bit and hits a lockdown, you can't be trading a science vessel for, like, one medic, obviously. So, like, our ghost's going to be better here than science vessels. Or, like, you know, there could be a little bit of a dance where you're scanning, you're trying to irradiate maybe the ghost. And here's the other thing, too. Restoration. Restoration undoes lockdown. Okay? Like, you can actually restore the lockdown unit and pull it back right away. And yeah, you actually could restore medevacs that have been irradiated. That's a real thing. I didn't even think of that until I was talking about the lockdown. Ooh, a little bit off right there. So Wolfix gonna just start punching out, even though he's way down in upgrades. He's down 2 upgrades right now. You'd think he would get crushed, but the Irradiates help so much here. Okay, great Irradiates overall, but Sterling ends up killing that and gets double lockdown. Oh my god. Yeah. Ghosts have concussive damage, doing 10, so they 4-shot Marines. It's really reasonable, and the range of a ghost in a bunker is the same as a Guardian. And you guys have seen Marines trying to fight Guardians. It's very rough. Additional barracks on the way. Lots of ghosts being made by Sterling right now. I think he really wants to take out the science vessels. And look at this. He makes a bunker up here. Like, you could... Dude, see the medics? The medics are actually making this worse. Yeah, see, he ends up killing him. So, if you're trying to do, like, a mass bunker, I actually think that nuke might be the right choice there. Because it's not like lurkers where you might be able to unburrow and then reburrow, or siege tanks where you might just unsiege, move back, then siege. The bunkers disappear, and then it just turns into bio versus bio again. Love to see it. Sterling right now with some pretty insane macro. 11 Marines, 10 Marines at a time. Wolfix getting a couple dropships, continuing that ghost production. You could actually technically bunker push a bunker if they don't have ghosts and you do. Ghost versus ghost. All right, filling up a couple of dropships here. He's got 4 medics, 12 Marines. Let's see if he can get this past. Ooh, I like that idea. That's cute. Maybe force a lift off. Oh my god, look at this containment he's trying to set up. That's insane. Ah, nuke silo. Yes. Yes. Oh, he's trying to, like, kite with these? Well, that really didn't end up working out. Ghosts are, like, clunky. They, like, as you saw there, they had a very hard time trying to kite. They are not really great units in that regard. Maybe if he had Cloak, that could have worked out a bit better. Now, here's that drop that Wolfix was going for at the third base of Sterling. Sterling's actually taking some pretty massive damage from this. 2-1 upgrades are done. It looks like Sterling wants to attack in. Oh my god, the amount of damage here. And wait, is Sterling actually going to be able to break through? He doesn't even have medics anymore. Do we have an Irradiate? There is one Irradiate available. Gotta repair this bunker. And he ends up holding. Suddenly not... It looks pretty darn good for Sterling there for a moment. I really like the idea of the lockdowns, and they did do some, like a little bit. Might need to get restoration. Might need to get his own science vessels. Nuke on the way here. But actually, both sides getting a little bit low as far as minerals. Wolfix a bit more, as he hasn't lost any SCVs or taken a third as of yet. 2-2 upgrades with 3-3 coming up. I believe Wolfix 2-1. Yep. Sitting on 2-1 with his 8 racks. Lots of minerals in the bank there. You know, I want to enjoy the present situation of how fun this game is right now. But I'm sitting here having so much fun. I'm like, ooh, I can't wait for the PvP one. I do have a PvP one on the way, by the way. And I can't wait to see what they do there as well. But anyways, looking at this, the nuke is almost done. It is almost done here for Wolfix. Vessel's coming over. Oh, oh. Damn, dude. I think you actually do want to get restoration. I don't like science vessels are definitely really strong here, but if they're only getting like 1 irradiate off, you're in trouble. Ooh, that's cute. Where's that restoration at? Okay, he's gonna end up killing a lot of these vessels. Like, you can lose a fair amount, and if you kill the vessel, I think you're still all right. Has at least a few ghosts in each of these bunkers. Would actually prefer to see a nuke to break this, like I've been saying. This is actually turning into a really insane game right now. Ooh. Now, you need ocular implants to launch this from far enough away. Wolfix is very close to running dry. I think he does need to launch a nuke. He probably needs to launch it from about here, and it should hit about there if he has the ocular implants. I don't know why that's the only upgrade name I know in the whole game, is ocular implants. I think I've spent way too much time thinking about how to actually utilize ghosts in StarCraft. It's actually an issue. Ah! Another bunker coming up. Yeah, just... What are we doing? Oh, maybe nuke right here so we can't see it. Oh, he nukes on the medic. That's going to be easy to see because you can see the little red dot. You can do little tricks, though, like on places they don't have vision and things like that. Does he not have a scan available? No? No. Oh, wow. So that was kind of lucky in that regard. Okay, so he removes the bunkers. So this... He definitely has enough bio to break out of this, but he needs it all to attack at the same time, and it's way disjointed. I think that's the main issue here. Okay, needs to see some irradiates as well. Yeah, he really needed all of this down there ready to attack at the same time. I think that's going to be it. Sterling did get this other base up, and Wolfix is not mining anymore, so there's really just not very much left. GG. All right, definitely a very interesting one, seeing ghosts added into the mix. I think we still haven't reached the final form. Let's go into the next game. All right, we're going into our next game here. This is game number 4 on Knockout. The top left, we have Sterling, who won that last game, and in the bottom right, we have Wolfix. So we've definitely seen some really interesting ideas from both sides. And I feel like we're starting to get an idea of what this matchup could look like. And I think that, you know, it's really hard to sit there and play it and figure it out. And, like, your opponent has ideas, you have ideas. you're kind of feeling through. You're not exactly sure what your move outs are or your timings or like when you're going to be ahead necessarily. But here's a couple of the ideas as to what I think this is evolving towards, right? Okay, so obviously in the early game, bunkers are very, very, very strong. Probably just throughout, but just, you know, getting a bunker up defensively is going to put you into a pretty good spot. This is an 8 racks, by the way. +1 is going to be really important. It feels like you can probably just bunker up and get into +1, which makes +1 probably the standard. And irradiates seem very, very strong. I think Vessel beats Ghost probably slightly. I think the Ghosts were good from Sterling, and I think that they do have a place. But Irradiate plus having Restoration seems to me like I don't think there's enough burst damage to burst down Vessels too quickly. So if you have a Restoration ready, that might be enough. But yeah, the Ghosts definitely had some good uses. I think nukes are reasonable for busting bunkers. So I think it's basically like you should try to get your expansion up, and you should try to kind of tech towards Vessel while making a lot of units and getting some upgrades. But like the thing is, if both of them start to do that and play a little bit more defensively, then it starts opening up other avenues. Like, oh, okay, well, if my opponent's kind of playing defensively and doing this line, can't I do the line but take a third? Right? And if you as the guy sitting there see like, oh, he's taking a third, well, maybe it's time to add more barracks, hit some sort of timing, that type of thing. So, yeah. Okay. Now, Wolfix has scouted this. He's done that 8 barracks in the center. This is a little bit annoying. And he doesn't realize yet that it's an 8 racks. So Sterling, it looks like he was getting ready for a command center. But we're going to finally have a bunker rush. This is actually the initial thing when I thought of the rule set that I was kind of afraid of, is like, okay, if someone gets a bunker up early in your opponent's natural, that's going to be a really big problem. Yeah, he gets rid of that SCV, which is really important. I don't know if he'll kill this one, though. Is he going to get lucky? Oh! So important. So important that he got that. And actually, Sterling's ahead on workers right now. You know, he got to kill 2 of Wolfix's workers. And it looks like, I think this is very close to done. I don't think he can finish that. It doesn't look reasonable to finish that right now. Like, target that down. Yeah, okay. Pop your Marines in. Yeah. Holds it easy. Okay, so this actually puts Sterling well ahead. Wolfix is down 3 workers. Sterling's got a defensive bunker already in place. And I think from here, he just goes, yeah, command center. And he's going to be feeling great. Go into +1. Kind of get that type of game going. Over on Wolfix's side, he's getting a gas. Okay, so I just don't see how gas before command center is going to be helpful. Like, I'm thinking of different ideas. Like, what if he gets range, make some bunkers here? But the thing is, if you have 2 base, like, even if you went mass bunker, you're very open to just make a nuke to clear the bunkers and then come out with your larger bioforce because you got your command center faster. But we see that actually Wolfix, even though he threw down that gas, he goes to command center right away as well. Okay, so that makes plenty of sense. Wait, 2 command center? What? Sterling hiding a base down at 6 o'clock. Yeah, I guess this is probably not something I would scout very quickly here as Wolfix. And the thing is, you don't have that much feel for bio Terran versus Terran. So if you don't have the feel for it, it's hard to tell when things are missing because you haven't played it very much. You know, like, as you get better and better at StarCraft, you can actually feel a lot of times when something's wrong. It's like, okay, what's off here? But a lot of this has been sitting behind bunkers. So the sneak expansion actually makes some sense from Sterling. But I also find it funny that he's doing that because I feel like after holding that bunker rush, he has to feel like he's ahead. So it's like, okay, is this even something you need to do? Oh, Okay, Wolfix is going to try something really fresh here. He's going to go 2 Starport Wraith. Now, Wolfix is a pretty technical player. He likes builds like this. You know, he technical player meaning like he's not all about like nailing optimizations for macro necessarily. Like he does factory openers, Terran vs. Zerg, stuff like that. So the 2 Starport Wraith, I kind of get it. Like now Marines do beat Wraiths, but the way these guys have been playing, like I could see Wraiths coming in and with solid micro actually doing a pretty good job. It's not like they've been getting range super fast. It's not like they've been focusing on getting comm stats up and stuff like that. The thing is, they should have eBays relatively quickly, should be able to make some turrets. So I'm not sure the level to which the Wraiths will get damage, but I think the Wraiths could actually be reasonable. It sounds funny, but like, yeah, like let's say he gets 5 Wraiths out. Well, you probably want more. Let's say he gets like 7 Wraiths, right? So he can one-shot SCVs. He's going to deal some damage to the economy. 3 port? And you can whittle down Marine counts there as well. Like you can run away from scans and things. I think the problem happens when missile turrets start getting up. And it's like, okay, what if we hit critical massive Marines? Well, you don't have to make Wraiths forever. Maybe he just goes up to 11 Wraiths. Just has a group. It's really useful and bunkers behind it and then gets into his own Marines. I could absolutely see that working. That is an interesting idea from Wolfix. I actually really appreciate him kind of varying how he's playing here a bit. What? Are you joking while I'm talking about Wolfix? Sterling is actually going 3 Starport Wraith as well. This is insane. This is insane. Science facility very quickly. Is he going to go 3 Starport science vessel? This is insanity, this game. But he does have the potential of a 3rd gas here. I'm sure he'll take it relatively soon. He's at 53 workers against 38, by the way. Just to make that clear. The Wraiths are definitely going to have to do something. They're definitely going to have to get some damage. There's no way he's going BC, is there? He's going BC. Oh my God. Okay, so on 3 gas, you can go 3 Starport BC. BCs have a high base armor, right? They have 3 base armor. Oh, who's... Okay, so that was him scouting, and he actually saw a Wraith pop out of this Starport in the bottom left. Do you go Valkyrie here? You want to hear something really funny? I considered banning Valkyrie, but I was like, that's going too far. That's too much theory crafting. Watching these games, I don't think I needed to ban Valkyrie, but I almost did just to be like, okay, just to make sure Wraith is a potential possibility here. But then I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like it necessarily needs to happen. Now, he just flew past this geyser, so he could actually use these Wraiths and completely destroy this base. That is totally doable. By the way, Sterling, another base over here. Okay, will fly in. He's going to be able to kill this base completely. There's no way for Sterling to save this. So this is actually a really good find. It feels like this base was still pretty useful overall, but he is going to hiccup that gas quite a bit. And it looks like he is just going to get the SCVs off of there and then send a few Marines down to clear it up. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Okay, some good scans coming down there from Sterling. I'm trying to figure out exactly what they're seeing from each other. Battle cruisers are beginning to be made. Only one so far. Double armory. Yeah, you know what? Like, lockdowns can beat BCs. But again, restoration beats lockdown. So like if you're just mass restoring battle cruisers, but then you could EMP the medics. God, there's too much theory crafting now. We're getting way too deep. This is too pleasurable for me. It's too pleasurable. The deepness of the theory craft of how what could we make compositionally that would win against everything. Now here's the Valkyries, which actually might ruin his day. Jesus. Maybe I should have banned Valks. Like, I felt silly even saying it, but you can see how he just kind of ruined everything. Valkyries counter Wraiths so hard. And the thing is, when there's mech, you kind of need that in there, but I don't feel like you necessarily needed that here. That was insane, though, the amount of damage he dealt. Okay, so Sterling is going double armory upgrade. He has double eBay, too. Like, this is reminding me of when I was, like, a newer macro player trying to get, like, way too many armories. Go, like, 4 armory TvT. It's like, yeah, that does actually happen sometimes still, but I have like 4 factories and 4 armories. It's like, what are you doing? But this is so much upgrading from Sterling, and he does have that bottom left. That is very killable. Oh, he's actually going past an SCV. We'll see if Wolfix actually sees this occurring. Okay, this is a really important catch. Really important catch. Now, let's see what is... okay, he's actually figuring out what's going on here. He's going to send his Wraiths to the bottom left. And a turret is being made, but he's going to have to make turrets with, like, every single worker. Okay, the Wraiths are actually doing a pretty darn good job. But it feels like they aren't going to be good long-term because there's already 3 starports for Sterling. So, he's making vessels in a BC. He might want to make some more Valkyries, though. I feel like I would want to make, like, 3 Valks to help deal with this. Ooh, good catch. Gets a couple of the Wraiths there, but they do deal some damage down here, at least. Saved the comsat for himself, by the way. You can steal add-ons with Terran. I try to do it whenever I can. It's hard to do, though, because your units will auto-attack your opponent's now neutral add-ons. So you actually have to move your units away if you're trying to steal the comsat while you build the command center or land the command center, and then it becomes yours. And then if you lift off, they won't attack anymore. Isn't that funny? Even though it becomes neutral, it becomes a yellow building. Your units somehow remember that it was evil. Okay, bunker goes up over here for Wolfix. Let's take a look at the numbers. 53 to 61 workers. Okay, somewhat comparable. Third base is finally up, but Sterling's has been up a little bit longer. Looking at upgrades, 1-1 with 2-2 on the way, and this is for Wolfix 0-0. So that is a bit of an issue. Being up 2 upgrades is pretty darn substantial. He does have that little Wraith fleet, so definitely some potential there still, but in a direct confrontation, it's going to be very difficult to do anything. The Wraiths are going to have a really hard time in that case. I wonder if StarCraft 1 would benefit from the Marauder. It's one of my least favorite units in StarCraft 2. But I'm like, how does he break through this mass bunker over here? Well, Marauders normally would, if you were playing this style that Sterling's using in StarCraft 2, it would definitely, the Marauders would be potentially very important for helping to break through there if you weren't going siege tanks. Oh, that's silly. Okay, so yeah, a single BC is not honestly that scary. Like, it's got high armor, so that's annoying, and he's going to D-Matrix it. But attacking into these bunkers, I think... Well, he's got 2-1. That's pretty insane. The Wraith's trying to help out here. The 1-1 Marines are just so... Or 2-1 Marines are so tanky. They're so buff here. Like, Wolfix, it felt like he had enough. If he had similar upgrades, I think he actually holds this relatively easily. Another good game for learning overall. It's funny that they both had the idea for mass starport play at this time. And I think it's reasonable. If Sterling hadn't gone 3 starport, the Wraiths of Wolfix actually might have done really well. It felt like they were starting to get some real value. But the Valkyries just knocked them out way too quickly. Yeah, he's going to get in here on top of the barracks. This does not look like a position that's very winnable. Like, over here, yeah, I guess we're filling up a few drop shifts for Wolfix, but he doesn't have a whole lot left. And I believe this is actually going to bring us to a 2-2, which is kind of funny, even though we don't really care about the score too much here. Fun to have that last map decide what's going to happen. Yeah, getting rid of that right before lockdown finishes. And GG. All right, let's go into the 5th and final game. All right, we're going into our 5th and final game. It's going to be on Dominator. Because of the reverse ramp, we might see more aggressive early gameplay, because if you get bunkers on top of that ramp, it seems like it might be very close to impossible to ever break out. Maybe you'll actually need the nuke at that point, but teching the nuke on one base does not sound like something that is reasonable. So, yeah, I feel like this is one map where I would be very, very careful to make sure that I had a good idea of what my opponent was doing, or a very defensive like bunker in the early game. So, you know, I do want to thank Wolfix and Sterling for playing. This has been definitely a very fun series. I really am enjoying watching Bio try to fight against itself, and some mix in as well for some of these other units. Definitely a fun game. Looking over at these guys, you know, I think that this was a good choice for players as well. They seem to be giving each other a nice, even match. They both have come with multiple different ideas, which is really, really fun to see how that's kind of going down. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Yeah, and of course, leave some notes what you think. Is there a better rule set? Maybe you came up with a better strategy for these games. I feel like we are zeroing in on some very solid ideas for how to play this, but aren't there quite yet. I think there's still a lot of room for messing around and finding something else. Okay, so Sterling here is going for a very fast refinery. And I'm surprised by that, because like the factory rush doesn't do anything. So if you see the very fast refinery, it's like, okay, well, it could be marine upgrades, or it could be a rush towards starport. Honestly, I just don't know which way he's going with this. It looks like Wolfix just wants to do an expansion pretty quickly. He's got his barracks up here on the high ground. I wouldn't mind him starting a bunker right away. Like, maybe I'm talking like a coward, but I'm like, it really seems like you get a big advantage by just getting your command center up and getting your upgrades going. You do those two things, and then you're going to have comsats. You're going to be able to figure out what your opponent is doing and maybe bend around a little bit as you need to. But yeah, the speed of the expansion seems to me to be very important. So Sterling here is going for a very fast bunker. He has that factory being made. There's no way this isn't 2 starport. Like, I can't... Like, I mean, I want to believe in 1 base nuke rush, but does not seem reasonable. It's way too much gas, way too little impact. And here comes Wolfix's SCV, and it's just going to walk right past that bunker. So this is actually a big moment for Wolfix. Sterling does not want to get scouted so badly, but 1 health. Oh, my God. Well, maybe you change what you're doing as Sterling here. He's going to show the starport. Like, he can't not start the starport. It's not like there's, oh, maybe he'll go factory units. That is against the rules. Okay. Finally kills that off. Wolfix over here looking pretty strong. Honestly, I see something like this. I make Marines nonstop. I get my academy. I make 2 missile turrets. You know, you'll have scans. You'll be getting your Marine upgrades. A Marine drop isn't going to beat you if you're building Marines nonstop, and Wraiths aren't going to beat you. So it's like it kind of shuts a lot of that down. And that's why I'm kind of saying, like, I do feel like just expanding, getting your upgrades going are the two main things that should be predictors of success in this modified rules matchup. Now, Sterling is taking a command center now. He's got the 1 starport, and that's a very fast science facility. So maybe it's just a vessel rush. Maybe it's quick ghost. I think it would be. I think the vessel rush makes more sense. Like, you could even potentially do some harassment with a vessel rush. You know, fly over, do an eraser. You could irradiate SCVs. Absolutely, why not? Stuff gets in your way, irradiate that. You know, irradiate's just a good spell. Academy coming up. Wolfix over here getting double comsat. I think he's being pretty careful to just in case like wraiths come, but yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. It is going to be a very fast covert ops and a quick add-on here. So maybe a dropship, maybe he's still going to go vessel with it. Like, I'm pretty chill with fast ghosts. Like, it seems like a decent idea. I think there's things you can do with that. That was a pretty good scan. Sees the covert ops, sees the add-on. Wolfix just adding on his macro here. He is up by about 4 workers as this command center finishes. Not the end of the world for Sterling. But not great either. You know, I think as far as what you can put in bunkers, ghosts are probably the best. Could there be a world in which he just makes more ghosts and puts them into bunkers? Because like 10 damage plus way more range than Marines, it seems like, especially when you stim Marines to attack in, the ghosts are going to 3-shot Marines. 4 ghosts per bunker. Like, every volley is going to kill more than 1 Marine. It's like 1 in a third, right? So, like, if you just bunker up with ghosts, can you get, like, a faster third base? Can you kind of explode that economy a bit more? I don't know. I feel like Sterling, because the SCV got in, maybe he's just kind of tweaking his build and trying to make something work. Because he got a little bit of a disadvantage from that SCV getting in. So, multiple ghosts, getting those comsats, not even going nuke silo. Just making ghosts. Could Ghost Medic beat Ghost Marine? They're the same supply. More damage by a good margin. More health, slightly. I didn't even think of that. And vastly more range. The potential to cloak. Like, there's a lot there. Uh-oh. He holds. Okay. Oh my gosh. Mass ghost guys. We're literally seeing mass ghosts here from Sterling. I love it. No upgrades for him, by the way. Just utilizing them as a base unit. With no splash damage. The concussive shells going to be doing full damage to everything they fight. Pretty awesome. Would love to see him just remake one more bunker, by the way. I wonder if there's a world in which you cloak and walk out and attack and then run as he scans or something like that. Oh my god, he's going to do an 8 ghost drop. He needs another bunker. Wait, he's... a medic and an SCV. So 6 ghosts, a medic, and SCV. Maybe he makes a bunker somewhere? Unfortunately for him, Wolfix already has missile turrets up. So that seems like a pretty good counter. I'm a bit nervous that Wolfix is going to see this drop come in, then he's just going to stim and attack. I would stim and attack here. He's not going to get that repair up in time. Good targeting there. Wait, did the ghost just win? The ghost just win? He flies over the missile turret. Sickest Protoss plays going on right now with the ghost drop. What? Oh my god, 6 ghosts, 1 shot in SCV. And he's making the bunker. You have to be kidding me. This is the most insane strategy yet. Wow. Both of them realize how absurd this looks. He's making a second bunker. I love it. The ghosts beat Marines, I think. Oh my God. It takes a million years for them to kill a building, though. Look at how slow they're dealing damage. Concussive deals 25%, guys, to large, which are structures. Plus the depots have an armor. Well, all buildings have an armor. Just crazy. Okay, here come the SCVs to help break. The Marines are a little bit late to the party here. So yeah, he'll be able to take this down, it looks like. Another dropship of ghosts. Of course. This is one of the most insane things I have seen. I really did not think this is where Sterling was going with that build. I thought for sure it would be like a 2-port raid. But he actually just rushes to ghosts so he can do ghost drops. Of course. Of course. Foolish me. Finds a use for the factory. Maybe he's slowing down some mining. Oh, this is just so hilarious. Oh my God. Okay, well, Ghost Medic, I don't know if that is the penultimate of what this no factory composition can see, but definitely a very fun game. All right, GG, and I guess Sterling ends up winning the series. Well, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this very different Terran vs. Terran match. I think watching that, you can definitely agree that there is still a lot of growth that could happen with this rule set. I think that this was actually much more successful than the Zerg vs. Zerg special rules match. Big thanks to Wolfix and Sterling for playing in it. And thank you guys for watching. One last thing, don't forget this was sponsored by Manta Masks. Go ahead and check them out below in the description. Thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.